who was under his command, but he was in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And he was mounted on a horse, and
I feel like I just saw that, like in my head earlier today. Like
he was, prancing back and forth and everything. But at the same time, Morgan's riflemen on the American side they were climbing up in trees, and now rifles were, of course, more accurate than muskets.
yes.
And a rifleman taking aim at somebody was pretty much
So they were snipers, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
basically,
snipers
General
always...
Fraser, before he died, which he died a while after his wound,
Mm-hmm.
claimed that he saw the puff of smoke out of the tree, that the bullet that hit him.
Mm-hmm.
He saw the guy fire at him.
Oh my
And
God.
Timothy Murphy ended up taking the credit for firing.
Okay, so we have the actually saying that was me.
Timothy Murphy ended up living. He ended up staying in the Schoharie area.
So he stayed in Schoharie. Okay.
Yes, and he was part of Morgan's riflemen. And also another part of that story about the riflemen was there was a British officer who kept a journal who was in artillery.
I need that journal.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know how to get me the...
I can't even...
In light of everything else, I'm just making stuff up as I go along. So we'll see what happens.
This British lieutenant who was in charge of a battery, a gun crew, noticed how accurate the riflemen were shooting from these trees and from concealed areas.
Yeah.
He says they were purposely aiming at officers in charge of each battery.
Yeah.
As he said, as I looked down the line...
What a strategic way to do it.
He goes, I could see officers getting hit one by one.
So that they would all, because
you need your officer there
to direct you. Yes, because when they're gone, everything falls apart.
And that's what he said. He noticed.
Thank God for good leaders and not letting everything fall apart. But like that, they're also always in danger.
So he said you could see these guys were firing from trees and they were hitting their targets. So.
Oh God, yeah. War is messy and ugly, and oh my God. Okay, so yeah.
That's it.
That's it. That's all you know.
That's
okay.
all I know.
I'm gonna.
And then Fraser himself was. There's a lithograph in silhouette form at night that the British buried Fraser somewhere, unknown grave somewhere near in Saratoga.
Okay, I kind of have an idea. I'm going to go to the battlefield and then maybe I'll see something.
And he was buried. And
that explains a lot.
His family in, I don't know if it was in Scotland or England, but years later.
Maybe a descendant of General Fraser could,
They were trying to find the grave.
Yeah.
And they still couldn't find it.
They still couldn't find it.
Unknown.
But it's somewhere there.
Somewhere at the battlefield.
At the battlefield. I was just at the battlefield the other day, but I couldn't stay long. And I need to go back. Do you want to come with me when I go back? do we... I know Heidi's coming with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Heidi and I are working on some collaborative stuff right now. Heidi's going to come with us. We want to do it on a Sunday, but we can wait until the museum closes if you want. If you're interested, or we can figure out a way around that. Or somebody else can take care of the museum and we can go to Saratoga.
Yeah, well.
If you're interested.
See what you come up with.
Yeah.
Years ago, reenactment.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were doing a sewing class with Carl Cornell. Carl Cornell was a reenactor. His last job before he died, he was working at Fort Ticonderoga as a interpreter.
Yeah.
Anyways, during the 70s, during the bicentennial, 1970s,
Yeah.
he was in college.
Yeah.
And his summer job was working at Saratoga.
Oh, there you go.
So he was just...
I went to the gift shop and I really I wish I had all the money and buy, I took pictures so I can get some of the books in here.
Yeah.
So that they'll be closer to me in general. You know what I mean?
Because that's good.
It's really, because look at the holes in the Adirondack room. Again, I just got an order in. Wow. Oh, it's Bob Cudmore. Bob Cudmore's gone. That's the problem. We'll figure it out. I need to call Alice back too. This is there's 3 books though, and I only have 1 left.
But anyways, Carl was just mesmerized because when he didn't have people to show the tour, he was constantly reading about the battle.
Yeah.
And that's why he was adamant in his belief. He said everybody, says Benedict Arnold was this big hero of the Battle of Saratoga, because he went up against Gates.
Yeah.
He disobeyed orders on Gates and led this big charge and all that stuff. He says, I remember Carl telling us the story. He says, what I've read, he goes, this guy was nuts out in the field. He was running around with his horse, galloping all around, rallying his men and waving the sword around, damn near almost hitting people. And,
so a reckless soldier.
Yes.
It's very dangerous. It's always dangerous to have a reckless soldier that doesn't.
He goes, I don't, all this stuff about Arnold being,
well, in hindsight, that kind of makes sense.
But anyways, Carl took us on a walking tour because he took us on this walking tour. You got the blacktop road now that goes all the way through. He took us on what he considered the original road that was there then.
Okay.
And you could see it dip in the ground.
Yeah, so this was way back before they made the really nice road that I saw this weekend.
They still had the blacktop road, but he took us to areas where he goes...
Where he took you off the typical road. Okay.
This was where the original
So maybe I need to, there was a guy there yesterday that he was, talking, and I was just trying to get back, it was the morning after the primary. I was just trying to get home from Glens Falls. I stopped at this area on the way. And, I still had, to get back here, so I couldn't stay as long as I wanted. But, there's a lot of stuff.
But Carl was taking us, Carl was so knowledgeable about the whole Saratoga thing. I mean, he says...
Well, I think when you're there all the time, it's different.
In the campground, where this is where the whole New York line was. The first New York was here. The second New York was here. The third New York was
so
over
he
here.
knows physically where, and Carl's gone, right? Yeah.
Then he took us
but that's okay because you're a walking encyclopedia, and that's why we're filming this right now.
And he said, at this one point, you're walking, he says, then all of a sudden he goes, you start to go up a grade, and you go up this little grade, and you get to the crest. And he goes, and this is where some of the Americans, and it was just turning dark. And the Germans that were on the British side, the Hessians.
The Hessians are wild.
They were in front of them.
I've seen the reenactors, and they're are they the ones with the little tassels? Are those the Hessians or no?
Yeah, some of the grenadiers.
With
tall. And they have riflemen too.
Yeah.
So when they reached this crest, the Hessians fired on the Americans, and the Americans took severe casualties.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean,
and it was almost dark, and all they could see was this red flames coming out.
All the flame, yeah. So they're just oh, we see that. Maybe we should just go. Maybe we should skedaddle for a little bit. That's wild. Yeah. So.
There's also in Sims' book about Nick Stoner.
I think that's Sue. Yeah, tell me about Nick Stoner.
Well, he was in Livingston's regiment. And they were they charging one of the redoubts, and the Germans had artillery pieces, and they were firing cannons.
Yeah.
And of course, the story is Nick Stoner is marching with some other people, and they're attacking the redoubt.
Yeah.
And the guy next to him takes a cannonball to the head.
Oh God!
And
it
splatters and all the bone fragment.
Yeah, Heidi was telling me about that earlier because she wrote about that a little bit with Nick Stoner.
Into his face,
and it
scarred him for the rest of his life. Yeah.
Well, I can imagine. That's still shrapnel, even if it's human shrapnel.
Colonel Livingston, who's buried down in the cemetery, started asking around, "Where's young Stoner?"
Yeah, where'd he go?
Yeah, and so he sent an Irishman out there and to look for him.
You want to find somebody, always send an Irishman. No.
Well, I guess a bullet whizzed by the Irishman's face or his head or something like that, and he turned around and ran back.
Well, okay. We do have some self-preservation.
Jesus, he goes, they're firing at me or something like that.
And poor Nick's over there somewhere.
Well, Nick, yeah.
So and Nick's really young at that, isn't he?
He's a kid, yeah.
He's a kid, yeah, 14, 15, he's very young.
He's I think he's still the musician.
Yeah.
Before he becomes a musket guy.
Yeah.
But
So he's
you better eat.
Yeah, I'll go eat. This is my lunch break though.